PYRESWAP show in our weekly mode where we just do development updates and no news discussion ever. Wrong. Today, mainly because I literally am trying to just finish a movie poster so I can debut it to you guys. I think today is a great day for me to revisit some of the old content where I actually talk about macroecon and its effect on the globe. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So since we last spoke, apparently the stock market took such a hit it was like second place to COVID. Have you guys heard? Did you guys hear about this? That the stock market might have been a bit upset. Is anybody hearing about this now? I really am trying my best to stay 1,000% focused on just finishing Learn Pyre, and yet certain things, for whatever reason, they have to interrupt me, right? Yeah, I know. Doc, I was as shocked as you were. But first of all, notice that Bitcoin didn't seem to care. And do you guys remember me talking about tariffs and how the implementation of them could be chaotic? Do you guys remember me saying this, I don't know, 90 days ago? I want to say January is when I was talking about this. I think December might have been in discussion as well, because that was after, I think December and January was when tariffs became like a conversation. Are you guys aware? Okay. So anyways, why do you guys think that the announcement of tariffs would cause the stock market to go down? Yeah, does anybody have a hypothesis? No? Just me? Okay. You can show them the board, I guess, if we have a chat full of idlers today. Tariffs? Yeah, could it be rigged? Perhaps it is rigged. Generally speaking, when you do this type of income tax to tariff shift, I want you guys to know it's like changing the operating system on a fucking computer. Because the US tax code is definitely for the last 100 years, has been all about income tax. Does that make sense? It's just, NAFTA was passed, I don't even know the year NAFTA was passed, but generally speaking, the tax burden was kind of handled by income tax, and there was no such thing as tariffs because they wanted to promote trade, as it were. Does that make sense? Now, something that's happening with the stock market crash is they're kind of thinking, first of all, if these companies are in America, it's all this implies is that all of these companies that are American, that are trading on the New York Stock Exchange, as it were, apparently are doing so much business internationally that these tariffs will affect their bottom line. Isn't that interesting? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I'm not one of those people that champions the idea of taxation in general, but for people who decry that there is a disparity between how individuals and corporations pay tax, they would be right. The tariffs do equalize that. Does that make sense? Do you guys get what I'm saying? You just create this checkpoint around the border of the country, and that's where the tax gets paid. That's the publican's kiosk, as it were. And then after that, you're good. You don't need to tax it again. Does that make sense to you guys? I know a lot of you aren't American, or should I say United Statesian, but I'm just hoping this idea makes sense. Now, I was reading the Wall Street Journal as I think my obligation is to do, and yeah, I know, isn't that crazy? Yes, the stock markets around the world are upset about tariffs, but in theory, the tax burden should be the same. Now, I want you guys to know something which is funny. The Wall Street Journal was saying that the bond market, isn't, the bond market is behaving irrationally, meaning that there's short-term panic in stocks, but the outlook on bonds hasn't shifted that much. And I want you guys to know this is kind of ridiculous, and this is a good example of the market being irrational. I feel like I'm just techno-belling at this point, but I will try to at least finish this thought. If you're gonna like sell your positions in the stock market because of what you think the impact of tariffs would be, then you must also think somehow that the tariffs will succeed at generating tax income. Does that make sense? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, tariffs can't do economic damage if they're not collecting taxes. Like, I mean, they could in theory just stop certain business models, but I just don't know if like 10 and 20% will actually do that, if that makes sense. The income tax rates were a lot higher than that, at least for individuals. So Treasury bonds, the yield on Treasury bonds gets paid from the Treasury. Do you guys know how the Treasury makes money? Collecting taxes. Yeah, collecting taxes. So the Treasury used to make money from collecting income tax. And, that's a different one. But you could, yeah. The Treasury takes money from collecting taxes. They also can issue the bonds, which is kind of like printing, but more on that later. Anyways, the people who trade bonds, I'm just gonna be honest, the people who trade bonds are a little bit smarter than the people who trade stocks. Does that make sense to you guys? I mean, actually, I have no way to prove that. It's just a belief of mine. I'm sorry. Okay. I would say that they're just like much more like calculus nerds. They're like the guys that are really graphing things out. Does that make sense? Yeah, indeed, Odin. But also, you can trade bonds on leverage. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can leverage the fuck out of bonds. So, like, the fact that bonds, it is conservative. It's like, I'm just gonna, like, banks are quite often like heavy players in the bonds market. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, banks, long time preference, so like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like, it's just they're in the business of like waiting. What does a bank do? Their business model, a lot of it is just waiting. So they're the ones that play bonds. You can then kind of extrapolate that banks have to know how markets work. Like, it's their business to kind of analyze this, right? So therefore, the bonds market is going to be played disproportionately by people who aren't as volatile. Does that make sense? So the fact that the bonds market is not chasing the stock market, I want you guys to know, if you're feeling the pinch right now from the stock market, I want you guys to know that the banks aren't that scared. Does that make sense? Yeah, like, I'm trying to be the bearer of good news. Does that make sense? Like, the banks are not as scared as retail traders are. And that's normally the case. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Okay, alright, I'm just hoping that's clear. I don't have any visuals to show you guys concerning the movie poster, because at this point it would be like just showing you the movie poster. Does that make sense? I don't want to show you the ingredients of the movie poster. Let me just show you the final thing, okay? And it'll probably be an announcement. And it's taken like 3 weeks to get this thing fucking done, but like, it's worth it. It's fucking worth it. I'm gonna get this fucking program sponsored. You'll see. And because we're going to be so fucking high effort with this, that's how we guarantee our marketing plan succeeds. By the way, Bitcoin doesn't seem scared. Just saying that again. Bitcoin doesn't seem scared. And I know a lot of you guys are new, but we've been launching this project since Bitcoin was $29,000. Does that make sense? So, like, I want you guys to at least understand, Bitcoin could drop to $29,000 and like, it's still quite bullish for us. Does that make sense? Yeah, like, I would have zero problem fucking running this same plan. If Bitcoin crashed to 29K tomorrow, my plan wouldn't change. I just want you guys to know that. Does that make sense? I know that it's kind of irrational that because I do less streaming, it feels like less things are happening with this project, but actually more things are happening. And it's just this weird kind of, behind the scenes moment. Yeah, like doing the stream 4 times a week doesn't move the needle as much as me doing it once a week and then actually moving the needle. Once I'm done with this stuff, I just stop being the bottleneck and we actually mechanize an exponent. I want you guys to know it's not the blockchain itself that causes the exponential change. It's the marketing that causes the exponential change. I think the fact that blockchains can send the signal to a lot of places at once, that causes an exponential change, that highlights it, but that's not really the, whatever, I'll just show it to you. I'll just prove it to you guys. Okay, so apparently also the news is that a Twitter account, which you guys might be aware of, called Watcher Guru. Does anybody know Watcher Guru? Generally a pretty good account to follow. I'm not a hater myself, and you guys know me. I can find something to judge about anybody. I'm kidding. Watcher Guru, and I'm not going to say any names, but Watcher Guru apparently says that people are now announcing fake stuff on Twitter, which is affecting the stock market, and then canceling those rumors, and these are causing these stock market tumults. Does that make sense to you guys? Well, first of all, it's a great example of the fact that there's something behind the price chart. At the same time, yeah, exactly, Odin. They're self-fudding, possibly. They're self-fudding. Yeah, I was going to say, Dr. Mac, some of the worst shit about crypto does, in fact, like, leach into... I'm not going to fucking finish this thought, okay? I'm just going to fix it, okay? Like, that's all I'm going to do. Learn Pyre is literally about rationalizing the market. Do you guys understand this? Like, I'm just gonna hit the fucking target. Like I like talking about it to you guys on an educational level. It just fills me with anger, but in a motivational way. Does that make sense? It does anger me in a way that makes me want to get back to work. Does that make sense? I have a lot of ideological drive about this. Okay. Tariffs, stock market, bond yields. Are you guys good on that? You guys have any questions about that? Watcher Guru. Literally the fact that we're now orchestrating FUD on Twitter, fucking mind-blowing, but, you know, I was, a book that I read is called Hitmakers, and it literally talks about how you need to balance novelty with familiarity in marketing, like in adoption. Does that make sense? Like, people need to feel that something's familiar, but then also that it's new at the same time. This is like an overlap zone. It's called... Raymond Loewy, famous designer Raymond Loewy described it as Maya, meaning most advanced yet acceptable. And that's a pivot that we're doing with our own aesthetics, like making our project look most advanced yet acceptable. Does that make sense? Arguably, I think that, anyways, I'll just fucking, I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk about what we're going to do, but I think sometimes it helps cement it in. Yeah, like, most advanced yet acceptable. Obviously, this product is advanced. It's about learning how to tune it towards being acceptable. A lot of small things about our aesthetic, including just how to make things a little bit, like, friendlier and tamer, help things become more acceptable. And I'll just show you guys how that looks when we get done with Learn Pyre. I want to talk about some stuff involving professional wrestling. Have you guys ever heard of a word called kayfabe? This one we're going to call it cut promo. I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but... Oh yeah, let's see if there's a glare I can maybe tilt it. Can you guys mostly read that? Okay, good enough. Okay, so have you guys ever heard of like kayfabe before? Kayfabe is like a code word they use inside professional wrestling, and it has to do with about like staying in the theater, staying in the storyline. Does that make sense? Like maintaining the storyline, maintaining the tension, maintaining the plot. Does that make sense? Quite often, more and more of politics now seems very much like kayfabe. Does that make sense? Right? Now, additionally, one of the reasons you learn about professional wrestling in America is that it's actually like one of the most genius marketing systems ever built. Like what wrestling is, it literally is like a storytelling factory, and they're constantly, even the fans that are like very deep in it, they know they're watching theater with violence. They literally know they're just watching like violence theater. Like they know it's 100% scripted, but like they still enjoy it the same way that somebody would go to the theater and enjoy a fucking stage play. Or whatever the fuck it's called. Play? Yeah. A play on stage. Do you guys get what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is, though, in wrestling, they just don't limit the stage to the ring. Like, wherever there's a camera, that's the stage. Does that make sense? Oh, Dr. Mac, would you believe that they are explosively... There's over 1 billion views a week, and we are talking about other countries. So, like, they're getting big in, like, India. Yeah, they're getting big in countries you wouldn't believe. Like, Indonesia, I want to say. Yeah, the Philippines. Yeah. Brazil. I don't know. But, like, yeah, like, they have 1 billion views a week. Like, it's unbelievable what that business model is. Anyways, so some of these words here I figured I would tell you. A mark is somebody who, like, believes in it. Does that make sense? A mark is, like, somebody who's, like, you know, you have to, like, be in character around this person all the time. Does that make sense? Like, this, like, in the Sanctuary Circus, we kind of use the word ghillie to kind of imply the same thing, but it's not really the same thing at all. Then they have this idea of work, and, like, work is, like, the acting itself, but work is also, if you overwork, you can work yourself into a shoot. They call it that. And a shoot is when you get actually injured. Does that make sense? So, like, wrestlers will say, don't work yourself into a shoot, and they'll say that, like, as slang, too. Arguably, like, you know, the more... This organization having so much involved with the circus, it kind of... I kind of almost feel like there's kinship to the idea of wrestling, as it were. But, anyways... Sometimes, even in crypto, you'll see people work themselves into a shoot. Do you guys know what I mean by that? Like, they don't know how to filter any noise at all, and they're literally completely in, like, a panic mode. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like they don't know how to, like... Damn. I wish I was more eloquent today, especially because I only do this once a week now. Anyways, and then cut a promo. This actually ties into Donald Trump and his strategy. When you cut a promo on somebody, it's like you do some sort of theatrical thing to insult or instigate one wrestler does to another. Does that make sense? So, like, I'm trying to think about, like, rivalries from back in the day. Anyways, I guess what it'd be like Ric Flair and like Hulk Hogan. I don't even fucking remember. Anyways, I want you guys to know that finance social media, whether it's crypto or whether it's not, like you still see these things happening. Like there's these crypto narratives, these Twitter narratives, and they're completely kayfabe, and they slowly saturate to the point where people in wrestling, they'll get past the point where they know it's fake, but they'll still be invested for their own entertainment. And like every season we have these where they have this like protagonist and an antagonist, which they call a heel in wrestling. And fuck, man. I think if I was standing up, I would be able to like deliver this better. But anyways, all I'm really saying is that storytelling is amazing for marketing. Anyways, yeah. Okay. You know what? Like, legitimately, now we have so much shit, like, shuffled around the room. I'm just gonna keep it here because we're gonna fucking shoot, learn, pyre, deliver it all. Anyways, my next announcement will in fact be the promo poster for the investment of Fergus Fenbrook, which is in fact like the first content in world building piece of Pyre. Does that make sense? It's also huge into our marketing because it allows us to fucking teach people how this project works without having to hit them with a fucking encyclopedia or a dictionary or an economics textbook. Anyways, yeah, thank you for your patience and support. We're going to make it. This project can't die. Yeah, I don't know. If you hadn't heard that I'm like shot or something, like you should be fine. I don't know how else to describe this. Please don't think that like doing more streams a week makes it more bullish or something. Like there's no reason that like more streams a week would be more bullish than less streams a week. I do more actual work in a week when I'm not streaming. Do you know what I mean? Because like Learn Pyre has to get built. You know, it has to get finalized at least. Alright. Yeah. Any other questions on terrace, bonds, stocks, FUD, and or kayfabe, work, shoot, marks, or cut promos? Well, phenomenal. Thank you so much for coming to another weekly installment of the PYRESWAP Show as we continue our preparations for marketing. And yeah, more good news soon. Goodbye.